Hello, parents and students. I'm here to talk to you today about my favorite thing, picture books. Picture books are so much fun to read and interact with. One way to interact with a picture book is to use the whole book approach. According to this book, Reading Picture Books with Children, How to Shake Up Storytime and Get Kids Talking About What They See by Megan Dwed Lambert, the whole book approach is a means of reading picture books with children as opposed to reading to them. Kids, in this approach, you play an active part in making meaning of all you see and hear during the reading. Instead of moving through the pages at the pace of the adult, you get to control the reading and explore all parts of the book as you discover them. This approach focuses on inviting children to react to the whole book. That includes the design, production, paratextual, and textual elements. Adults, it is important that you consider how all design and production elements might contribute to the shared reading. There are 6 aspects to the whole book approach: trim size and orientation, jackets and covers, end papers, font, matter, typography, and page design. I'm going to show you how to use the whole book approach with 2 books. The Donkey Egg and The Eraserheads. The Donkey Egg was written by Janet Stevens and Susan Stevens Crummell. Janet Stevens illustrated the book, and they wrote the words together. These ladies are sisters. It was published by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt in 2019. In this book, Fox tricks Bear into buying a donkey egg. Bear can't wait for it to hatch so he can meet his new friend. But donkeys don't come from eggs. And when the egg finally opens, Bear gets a big surprise. The Eraserheads was written by Kate Banks and illustrated by Boris Kulvak. It was published by DMN Publishers Incorporated in 2020. In this book, 3 Eraserheads that live with a boy in the land of pencils, paper, rulers, numbers, letters, and drawings become trapped in one of his pictures while trying to correct mistakes. Now let's analyze the 6 aspects of the whole group approach using these 2 picture books. The first aspect is trim size and orientation. This refers to the physical look of the book. Most books are rectangular, but they can be a landscape orientation, which is horizontal, sideways, or they can be a portrait orientation, which is vertical, up and down. The trim size is the final dimensions of the bound pages. These characteristics can vary dramatically from book to book. Let's look at the orientation of this book. This book has a portrait orientation that goes up and down. I also noticed that this book is wider than most vertical books. Why do you think it's wider? I wonder if the book is wider because one of the characters in the book is a bear, and bears are big. The orientation and the trim size helps represent the size of the main character. Now let's look at the book, The Eraserheads. This book has a portrait orientation as well, but I noticed that it is skinnier and shorter than the Donkey Egg. Why do you think this is? This book is about a boy who likes things to be nice and neat. The size and orientation of this book is precise and nice and neat. This mimics the theme of the book. The next aspect is jackets and covers. Looking at the jacket and cover gives us ideas about what is going to happen in the book. When we look at the pictures on the cover, we can make predictions as to what the story is going to be about, and it can get us excited about what we are going to read. Jacket art on a picture book can adopt a wraparound design, with one picture extending from the front of the book across the spine to the back. Or it can have a dual image jacket, where the pages are divided into 2 scenes by the spine. In the book, The Donkey Egg, the jacket has a wraparound design. If I open up the book, I can see how the picture connects. On this cover, I see a bear and a rabbit looking at a round object covered by a blanket. I wonder what is under the blanket. It kind of looks like a watermelon. Both characters are really looking at the object. Are they trying to figure out what the object is? What are they going to do with the object? I also wonder if the bear and the rabbit are friends. Asking questions like this helps get my brain ready to enjoy this book. Now, let's look at the Eraserheads. This cover has a dual image cover. On the front of the book, I see 3 pencils, each with an eraser on it. The title is called The Eraserheads, so I can infer that the erasers on the cover are going to be the characters in this book. When I look at the back of the book, I see a picture of the Eraserheads relaxing at the beach. Because this picture is on the back, I wonder if this is a clue as to what will happen at the end of the book. The next aspect is the end papers. End papers are the pages pasted onto the inside of the boards of a hardcover book. The end papers often give us clues about the artwork inside the book. Let's first look at the end papers of the book, The Donkey Egg. These end papers are a solid red color. They are the same color as the title. This color ties the book together. Also gives us a clue as to what could be under that blanket. Maybe it is a watermelon. Watermelons are red inside. Now, let's look at the end papers of the Eraserheads. The end papers in the beginning of the book show a boy entering through a door. Surrounding him are many pages of pictures or drawings. Looking at the pictures on the pages, we can gather clues as to what is happening in the story. Did the boy draw these pictures? Why did he draw them? The pages are flying through the air, almost like they're his thoughts swirling around in his head. Now on the back end pages, as you can see here, the boy is leaving out the same door. The drawings are still flying through the air. The boy is leaving, so this shows us that the story is over. Now let's look at the front matter. The front matter is everything between the cover and page 1 where the story begins. It is often skipped over, but it contains important information that is part of the story. Let's look at the front matter in The Donkey Egg. First, we have the title page. On this page, we see the same object covered with a blanket that we saw on the cover. As I look at this, I start to think about the object. What is it? Why is it there? And why is it covered up? Could it be a donkey egg? These are all questions that help me think about the book and get my mind ready to understand what is happening as I read. Now let's go to the next page. On this page, we have the dedication and copyright page. I see a picture of a house, and sitting on the front porch is Bear. I notice that the house is run down and needs some repair. I can infer that this house belongs to a bear because he is sitting outside of it. I wonder why his house is in need of repair. On the next page, the author introduces the characters. The word starring tells us that the picture drawn here are the characters that are starring in the book. I like how the characters are drawn inside the stars. Each character has a short description of each character. This helps me get an idea of who the characters are and what they are like. I can start to form ideas on what the characters will do in the story. Now let's look at the front matter in the Eraserheads. On the left side of the book, I see the dedication and copyright page. I like how the dedication is written on a page of torn paper attached with tape. On the right side of the page is the title page. On this page, I see a sketchbook, pencil, and the 3 Eraserheads. As I see this, I get the idea that this book is going to be about someone writing, and figure that the Eraserheads will help out. I also like how the sketchbook is facing the other way, as if someone is facing it and has just written in it. That is why the title is upside down. It makes you think about who could be writing in the sketchbook. Now let's talk about the typography in these two books. Typography is the arrangement and design of the words on the page. It is how the words are visually presented on the page, such as their typeface, size, and placement. This helps influence a reader's experience of the visual representation of speech. Let's look at some examples of typography. Let's look at some pages from the donkey egg. On this page, the size of the font is in varying sizes. Most of the words are in a smaller type, but the words that Fox says are larger and in different colors. When font is darker and larger, that tells us to say it louder. The exclamation points tell me to say it with emotion, like this. Ta-da! A donkey. Or, and voila, a donkey. On this page, words are spread out instead of in a line, so they can label the picture of each animal. Chicken, dinosaur, platypus, alligator. This is visually pleasing to the eye and helps keep the attention of the reader. On this page, one word is all stretched out. When the word is stretched out like this, it tells me to read it in a longer, stretched out way, like this. Screeched. You'll notice in this word there are several E's in a row. That also tells me that I need to emphasize that E sound. Screech. Now let's get the typography in the eraser heads. The words are written in smaller font and are off to the side. This is done to keep the focus on all the details in the illustrations. On this page, there are words on the sketchbook. The words are written in a font that looks like a young person has printed on the page. This helps us know who wrote the words. Finally, we will talk about page design. The page design consists of the gutter, which is the vertical seam between the left and right page, where the pages of the book are bound together, the use or absence of frames, and the dynamic between the pages. In the donkey egg, most of the pages are in a 2-page spread, with no space in the gutter, like on this page and this page. This expands the picture and invites the reader to take longer to look at all the details in the page. Here, the pages are in a single page spread, and there is space at the gutter and around the edges. The space makes your eye focus on each scene separately. Here, 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 and here. Taking that pause helps the reader see each detail and the sequence of the events that are happening. In the eraser heads, each page is a 2-page spread. The illustrations expand across the page and through the gutter. This puts a large focus on the illustrations and urges the reader to really look at all the details. This is all 6 elements of the whole book approach. I hope you learned something from this video and are excited about picking up a picture book and experiencing all these aspects together. It is important to slow down and really enjoy the whole book. I encourage you to spend some time with your child reading picture books using the whole book approach.